We are good to go. We
We're
just
good.
1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute.
No problem.
Right.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me clearly as well?
Loud and clear, champ.
Ke a leboha, sir. Ke a leboha, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for coming and spending another week with us. Remember, like I always say, my name is Mutaun Tapelo, and I'm being entrusted with the platform to facilitate and also take your questions to the guest speaker that will be having for the day. This is our second week of the summit, and we are changing things bit. We are putting we changing. Last week we were focusing on mindset. This week we're looking at business systems, how you're able to be effective in what you're doing constantly, despite challenges, despite
Tia, you frozen? You look frozen, champ. Hi guys, I just spoke to Tapelo. He says he'll be joining us soon. He's just having some technical difficulties on his side. As we know, network can fluctuate. Yes, so my name is Coach T, Thabo Coach T Magano, for those who don't know me. I am a life coach. I've been in the life coaching space now for the past 11 years, dealing primarily with young people, with entrepreneurs, and working in schools, in universities, and in community businesses. I'm very passionate about developing people's mentalities, developing people's minds, and helping people reach their maximum capabilities. I firmly believe that a lot of us, number one, we've never met our full potential, and number two, we don't know how to live at that level every single day of our lives. So one of the things that I'm very passionate about is that when I meet people, I always try my best to help them see what their full potential is, and to get them to a level of understanding of how do I live at my full potential every single day. But today I'm here to talk to you guys about how to maintain momentum. All right, how to maintain momentum. We can all agree that these are trying times. There's a lot of uncertainty that is that is happening in the world right now. And one of the things that a lot of us are struggling with is, what do I do next? How do I prepare for the next transition? How do I make sure that when all of this comes down, that I'm in a position of power and not necessarily in a position of pain? All right, so I'm going to be going through a couple of things to help you guys understand how do you maintain momentum. These are extracts from a new book that I've written. It's an ebook. You can get it on my website at coacht.co.za/resources. It's a fantastic ebook. When we wrote this ebook, we wrote it after a session that we had with our clients. So what we did as a company is, as soon as the lockdown was announced, We took all of our clients, put them on a call, and we came to them with the tools that they would need to be able to weather the storm of the lockdown, to make sure that when this lockdown is over, they are in a better place than when they went in. One of the promises that I made to my clients is that this won't be a red dot in their calendar. And then after we saw them use these tools and be effective, we wrote a book about it. Me and my team came together and I wrote a book about this particular topic of not losing momentum. So I'm going to be taking you through some of the extracts from the book that I think if you can put them to good use, then you'll be able to transition from where you are to the next level of greatness. All right. One of the things that sparks me about this particular topic and why I'm very passionate about it is that a lot of us are not prepared for the next level. We're so busy with what we're currently doing that we hardly ever prepare ourselves for the level that's coming. And I got to see the pain of this when it came to my brother. Once he graduated from university, I had to see him for 4 years, spending it at home with no real plan on what next, how to get employed and things like that. And the sad thing is, he was top 5 in his graduating class when it came to the course that he did in university. But because while he was there, he didn't put systems in place to help him transition and make sure that he has a smooth transition from one point to another, he was stuck at home. And a lot of us, we run the risk of being that because we're so focused on the day-to-days of our businesses, the day-to-days of our lives, and we hardly ever prepare ourselves for the next level of transition that is taking place. When that next level comes, most of us are not prepared. Now, I'm going to be taking you through a couple of points. So we're going to write down notes, and I'm looking forward to your questions after this. The first thing that is very important that I want you guys to know is that you have to know what you can control. In this time of uncertainty, it's absolutely important for you to identify what can you control. I call these things the CVs, the controllable variables. All right. Some of us have more controllable variables than others. Some of us has less controllable variables than others. But what is fundamentally important is you understand there's one important controllable variable that we all have, and that's you. You can control you. How you control yourself in seasons of uncertainty can guarantee whether or not you make it or you don't. All right. So the most important controllable variable through this season is you. One of the things that I always tell my clients is control what you can control. No matter what season you're going through, control what you can control. And the number one controllable variable is you. Now I'm going to show you how do you control yourself. How do you make sure that you put yourself in the best possible position that when all of this is over, like I say, I'm all about you being a victor, not a victim. All right. This lockdown must not victimize you, but it must propel you to victory. All right. So number one, control what you can control. And the number one controllable variable is you, champions. All right. Now, the first thing that I want you to understand when it comes to controlling yourself is that you need to invest in yourself. You are the most precious commodity that you have, and you need to invest in yourself. Now, there's a story that I once told my clients, and it's about this guy who got a job as a tree filler. All right, tree fillers are those guys that chop down trees. Now, he got this job, and in the first week, he was given an axe that he can go into the forest and cut down trees and chop down trees. And man, oh man, this guy was a machine. Every week for the first couple of weeks, this guy was chopping down 15 to 20 trees a day. Going at it. And he was one of the high-performing tree fillers that that company ever saw. But after 3 weeks, all of a sudden, his production rate started to drop. Now, after the first month, the manager thought, you know what? It was his first month. Maybe the last 2 weeks he dropped for a specific reason. Let's give him another shot. And then the second month, his production rates continued to drop until he was getting to a level where he was only chopping down 7 to 5 trees a day. So at the end of that month, his manager called him and he was like, fam, look, this is not working. Like your whole production rate has dropped and you are dropping the entire team's production rate. We're going to have to let you go. Right? So then the manager tells him, give us back the axe that we gave you in the beginning so that, we can let you go. So as he delivers the axe back to the manager looks at the axe and he says, hey, wait a minute. Why is this axe so blunt? And the tree filler says, it's the axe I've been using all along. And the manager then asked him, haven't you been sharpening this axe? And the tree feller's like, no, since you've given it to me the first day, I haven't been sharpening it. And the manager laughed. And he said, Jimmy, that's why you haven't been producing. Your axe is blunt. At the end of every shift, you are meant to be sharpening this axe so that in the next shift, you can be able to do the work at a high level. And what am I saying to you? Your mind, you are the axe. You are the axe. Your mind is the axe. If you are not investing in your mind, then you are not investing in yourself and you are not investing in your growth. And you're going to be trying to deal with new problems with an old mindset. Most of you are trying to deal with new problems, new uncertainties with an old mindset. You're quick to invest in everything else around you, but the last thing you invest in is yourself. How else are you going to be sharp in what you need to do in this season if you don't invest in your mind? We're quick to invest in our phones. We're quick to upgrade our cars, quick to upgrade our attires and our looks, right? Ladies, we're quick to make those brows on fleek, all right? But when was the last time you invested in yourself? When was the last time you bought a new book? When was the last time you took an online course? When was the last time you sharpened your axe? Or are you coming to every shift, every day, with the blunt axe that you used yesterday? There's a famous line that I like, and it says, your greatest thinking brought you this far. If you're going to go further, you need a new set of thinking. So it's important, champions. You need to invest in yourself. You need to invest in the knowledge, gaining new knowledge, gaining new networks, exposing yourself to new opportunities. You are the greatest investment that you're going to make. You need to invest in yourself. That's absolutely very important. And one of the things that I absolutely want to emphasize is this, all right? I don't care how many times you fail. As long as you are breathing, your purpose can still be achieved. As long as there's still breath in your system, your purpose can still be achieved. I asked one of my clients this the other day, and I was like, what is the one thing that if we took away, that your vision can never be achieved? And at first they were like, if you took away my resources. I'm like, no, if we take away your resources, we can still give you more resources. And they were like, I don't know, what could you take away? And I said, the greatest thing that we could take away that can nullify your dreams is you. If we take you away, it doesn't matter what resources there are around you, but if we take you away, your dreams can never come true. So as long as you're breathing, I don't care how many times you fail, but as long as you're breathing, you are still here. The most important variable to your dreams coming true is you. And as long as you're breathing, I want you to understand your dreams are still valid and they can still come true. But you can't use the old way of thinking in this new season. Sharpen your axe by investing in yourself. All right, that's clear. Point number 2, all right, monitor your consumption of information. That's so important. Monitor your consumption of information. All right, we're in an information age right now where there's so much news. There's so many things that are happening on TV. There's so many things that are happening online. Social media is doing so many things. And a lot of us are just over consuming information. You're stuck on your phone every day, scrolling, and you're over consuming information. I want you to understand one important thing, all right? Overconsumption of information induces anxiety. Overconsumption of information induces anxiety. A lot of you are in an anxious state because you overconsume information, all right? I want you to have this mindset that's gonna say quality over quantity. Quality over quantity. You need to pick the quality stuff over the quantity. All right. You need to monitor how you're consuming information, because when you are in an anxious state, it not only eats away at your energy levels that day, but it also eats away at your creativity. All right. So it's a very important quality over quantity. Monitor your consumption levels. Now, I want to elaborate on this. What do I mean quality over quantity? All right, it's the same as when you're eating, okay? The worst thing you can do at lunchtime is have pap and flakes, all right? You've overconsumed. Now your production levels for the rest of the day is just going down, all right? Because you overconsumed, and that's the same with information. The worst thing you can do is start your day off with bad news. Start your day with an overconsumption of bad news. It eats away at your energy. It eats away at your creativity. And then when you come face to face with the problems of the day, you are not able to handle the problems of the day because your mind is so anxious. You've blocked away your creative levels because you consumed the wrong kind of information. So quality over quantity. I recently had a conversation with a young man, and he said to me during this lockdown, one of his greatest goals is that he wants to read 50 books. I was like, hey, that's very noble of you. 50 books, wow, that's fantastic. And then I asked him a simple question. I'm like, okay, in the past year or two, how many books have you read in total? And then he said, look, average 10 books in total. I'm like, okay, so you've read 10 books in total in the past 2 years. Now, I want you to tell me something. Have you implemented every single thing that you've learned in those 10 books? And then he said, no, not really. I'm like, okay, cool. Now, let me ask you this. If you were to go back and take each and every one of those books and rather implement every single lesson in each one of those books, where would your life be at the end of this lockdown? And he paused and he said, wow, my life would actually be at a further state. And that's the important thing. A lot of us rush for quantity when we should be rushing for quality. So I told him, don't chase after reading 50 books. I would rather you take one book and say, I'm going to implement a single lesson in this individual book so that I can make sure when this lockdown is over, I'm in a better position. So quality over quantity. You don't just need information, you need explicit information. Chase after explicit information. You don't just need general articles. You need articles that are specific, that are going to give you the specifics of, as an entrepreneur, these are the steps that you should be taking in this time. So make sure that the information that you're consuming is quality, number one, and make sure that you are not over consuming. All right. Now, in our coaching family, we've got the statement where I always say them, consume, process, and apply. Consume, process, and apply. We call that the CPA method. All right. CPA method. Consume, process, and apply. All right. Now, if you're over consuming, one of the things that you're doing is you're rushing from consumption to application without process. And that's where most of us are getting wrong. You're reading a book and you immediately want to implement what you read without necessarily processing the information that you've actually just received. So it's very important. Consume, process, then apply. All right. Now, I want you to understand one critical thing in the processing platform. All right. So now you've read information, you've read a book, you've watched a series, or you've watched this live session, and you've really consumed a lot of good information, and now you have to process it. Now, there's two types of thinkings that most of us need to be aware of. There's transactional thinking, and then there's transformational thinking. All right. Most entrepreneurs are stuck on transactional thinking. Now I'm going to elaborate on both. All right. Transactional thinking has to do with the day-to-day stuff of running your business. Most of us are stuck there. The day-to-day. How much stock do I have? Who do I need? Which client do I need to close? What inventory do we need to process? All right. Which post do I need to post today? You're stuck on the transactional day-to-day things of your business. And very few of you ever take the time to think transformationally about your business. Now, in this period, all right, when you process information, I don't want you to only look at how can it help your business transactionally. So on the day-to-day operations of your business, how can this information help your business? But I want you to then take a moment and step back and say, holistically, how can this transform my business? Transformation requires holistic change. All right, transformational thinking requires you sitting as an entrepreneur in a room, locking yourself away, switching off all your phones, removing all the distractions, and then putting a white piece of paper on the wall and saying, I'm gonna extract as many possible ideas as possible from this concept that I've just learned. It doesn't matter if it sounds stupid. I'm just going to extract as many ideas as possible from this. One of the things that me and my team did just before we got the lockdown got announced is that there were certain things that we felt, you know what, because we were in the transactional day-to-day for such a long time, during this period of lockdown, let's make sure we do transformational stuff. So we sat for a good 2-3 days and we just brainstormed. What things can we do to transform our business to the next level? So during this lockdown, we were able to revolutionize our website. We revamped it completely. And just from there, we went from a daily visitation of about 50 people to over 200 people that are visiting our website because of the new look, because of the new features. So just that one transformational change has transformed our business completely. We revamped how we did our social media. We put systems in place to ensure that we transform our social media, and it's heightened our interactions on social media by over 200%. All right, transformational thinking. We've put systems in place. So the pause of the lockdown, yes, it hindered some of our transactional stuff, but the time we gained from not doing a lot of transactional things, we moved to ensure that we do transformational things. And it's through that transformational thinking that now we've opened markets in Botswana. We're tapping into markets in other countries now during this time because we were able to learn from this time and not just learn about what can we do transactionally, but also how do we evolve to the next level? How do we transform the way our business currently looks to what it needs to look? All right, we were able to put in online payment systems, right? So we allowed the pressure of the season to move us into a transformational state. So when you are processing information that you've learned, don't just process it on a transactional state, on a face value state. Take it deep. Ask yourself, how can this be evolved? How can I extract this so that I can transform my business? How can I extract this so I can transform my life? All right. Transformational thinking is what evolves your business. Transactional thinking is what keeps your business afloat. It keeps your business alive. But transformational thinking is what evolves your business to the next level. All right. I hope that makes sense. Now I say consume, process, and apply. In the application stage, I want you to understand one key thing. Execution is worship. Execution is worship. It's very important that once you've thought through, once you've processed, you need to execute, champions. You absolutely need to do. The ones, those are getting ahead, and those are not the thinkers. The ones that are getting ahead are the doers. The ones that are getting ahead are not the thinkers. The ones that are getting ahead are the doers. All right. During this time, I've spoken to 3 people who've had the same idea of developing a delivery app system in Northwest. 3 people had the same idea. 3 thought and stayed in their thought process. 1 did. Even though there were certain things they still needed to figure out, there were certain things that they still needed to prototype, they did. And as we currently speak, their app is running in Rustenburg. They've been able to secure deals with some of the big retailers in that province, and they are doing amazing work because from their thinking, they immediately went into doing. You need to do, you need to act. Speed of implementation. All right, so consume, process, and act. Consume, process, and apply. Consume, process, and apply. That's very, very important. And remember, move from transactional thinking into transformational thinking, champions. That's very, very vital. All right, that's absolutely, absolutely vital. Now, there's one more point that I really want to hone in today. And I said it even in my introductory video that was going around on social media. Opposition brings opportunity. This is so important for you to understand. Every time you see opposition, smile. Every single time you see opposition, smile. Because you must understand, opportunity is knocking at the door. Every single time you see opposition, opportunities knocking at the door. Now, there's a couple of things I want you to understand about opposition. Number one, opposition forces you to reconnect with your vision. As an entrepreneur, a lot of the times we lose sight of our vision because we're stuck on the day-to-day transacting of our business. And you find yourself 2 years down the line and your business has evolved into something that you didn't necessarily envision in the start. And you lose sight of the vision. You lose sight of what you initially wanted to build. Do you understand? Because a lot of you are driven by need and not necessarily driven by vision. Now, if you're driven by need, it means you'll constantly evolve in what people need you to be and not necessarily develop what you had originally in mind. So when opposition comes, one of the first things it does is that it pauses you, shocks you, and it says, go back, go back. Is this really what you were trying to build? Is this really what you were trying to build? Or have you lost sight of what you were trying to build? So it forces you to reconnect with your original vision. Remember, your vision is where your provision lies. Every vision has a provision. So the moment you lose sight of your vision, it means that you've started to move away from where your provision lies. So when opposition comes, that shock, accept it and rush back to your vision. Go back to the original plan. Go back to the business plan. Go back and see where did we lose it? What did we intend to do here? What do we need to refine? Go back to the vision. Number one, opposition forces you to reconnect to your vision. Number two, opposition forces you to go inwards. All right. A lot of us are stuck in competition. One of the things that I always say to my clients is that we don't compete, but we dominate our lane. You see, the thing that people never tell you about competing is this. When you get stuck in competition, you never become the full version of yourself, but you simply become what you need to be in order to beat the next opposition. So you never really stretch yourself to your best. You just make sure that you do enough to beat the next guy, to beat the next opposition. All right. So when you're stuck in competition, you must understand you're stuck in a race that is not good for what you're trying to establish, but rather focus on dominating your lane. Authenticity in business is paramount. There's a lot of fakes out there. There's a lot of wannabes out there. But one thing my mentor, Dr. G.A. Luchuto, always tells me is that every voice has an audience. If you stay true to your voice, your audience will come. So opposition forces you to go inwards. It forces you to stop focusing on the distractions and go inwards and say, what was the vision? What do I have? What do I have? That's one of the things we had to look at as a company during this time is, okay, certain things have stopped, but what do we have? What skill set do we have in-house that we can use during this time to make sure that we take our business to the next level? So what do you have? What skill sets do you have that you've been sleeping on, that you haven't been maximizing because you were reliant on external forces? Now that the external forces aren't there, what do you have in-house that if you focused on it, if you harnessed your energy on it, if you gave everything you had towards establishing it, it can put you onto the next level? Remain authentic to what you have. Remember, every audience, every voice has an audience. Number three, opposition forces you to be creative. Opposition forces you to be creative. Some of you were too comfortable. You were too comfortable in the status quo, too comfortable in how you did business, too comfortable in your systems. And opposition now has shaken you and brought this anxiety, this unease. But if you understand, this is where your greatest level of creativity comes to play. Nobody becomes more creative than somebody who's squeezed in a corner. When you're squeezed in that corner, that's when your most greatest creativity levels start to arise. So allow this opposition to squeeze out your best level of thinking. Allow this opposition, this pressure to squeeze out the highest form of creativity that you have. This is the time where you take the risk on yourself. This is the time when you bet on you. When you're like, you know what, let's try it out. Let's try it out. Let's see what happens when we try it out. I remember for years, I used to say to my team, I'm not a writer, man. I'm not a writer. I'm a speaker. Just give me the mic and that's what I do. right? But this pressure allowed me to squeeze out the author in me. It allowed me to squeeze out the creativity in me. Not only did we do an ebook, but I've started a blog now. And every week I'm sharing my thoughts and we're seeing how it's impacting so many lives. So allow this opposition to put you in a corner and squeeze out your highest level of creativity. It's very important. All right. Number 4, opposition brings the opportunity for death to take place. Now, this is an uncomfortable one. All right. Opposition allows the opportunity for death to take place. Champions, let me tell you this. Unless who you are dies, who you want to be will never come to life. Unless who you currently are dies, who you want to be never comes to life. So when you face a mammoth opposition and they kill who you are, doesn't mean the journey stops. It just means it's creating an opportunity for ashes to be present, for a phoenix to rise. You cannot entertain who you are as you pursue who you want to be. One has to die. One has to die. For transformation to take place, for momentum to continue, for you to have enough momentum to move into the next phase of your life, there must be a death that takes place. It reminds me of an example I once gave, and I had a seed on my hand, and I was saying to people, this seed has the potential for so much. But until it goes down into the ground and it dies, we never see the potential. Some of you were so married to dead ideas that it took this opposition to punch you in the throat, so that through the ashes of that punch, your next level of glory can rise. Opposition brings the opportunity for death to take place. Now, 2 more things I want to mention about opposition. Opposition brings the opportunity for you to be announced. Opposition brings the opportunity for you to be announced. Now, I want to take an extract from one of the books I love reading, the Bible, and there's a story there about a guy called David. And the truth of the matter is, most of us, without Goliath, we probably would have never known about David. Without Goliath, we wouldn't be speaking about him as much as we do. So it was in him conquering such a highly esteemed opposition that he got announced to the world. I guarantee you, champion, if you allow this opposition to crush you, the world will never know. But it's those of us who allow this opposition to take us inwardly, to reconnect with our vision, to reconnect with our inner strengths, and to allow ourselves to evolve to the next level. And we come out conquering, that now we're being announced to the world. As we speak on Wednesday, we're starting a new call. We're being announced to clients in Botswana. We're being announced to different people. I'm on this platform. There's people who've never seen me before. We're being announced to you right now. We've allowed the opposition to create platforms for us to be announced. We didn't allow this opposition to crush us. It's absolutely important that you allow the opposition to announce you to the world. In closing, I want to say this. How you perceive things will determine your behavior towards things. And how you perceive things will determine your belief system towards things. And your belief system will determine your behavior towards things. How you perceive things will determine your belief system towards things. And your belief system will determine your behavior towards things. If you perceive this season as tragic, the belief system that you have will be negative and your behaviors will be negative. But if you can perceive this season as an opportunity, your belief systems every morning will wake up and say, where do I strike today? Where's the opportunity today? Where's the light today? And that will drive your behavior towards this season. Don't let this season be a red dot in your calendar, but let this season announce you to the world. Because your attitude determines your altitude. Thank you so much, champions. Thapelo, over to you. I hope I didn't take up too much of it.
Drop the mic movement right there. Drop the mic right there. Look, Coach T. Like I said when we started, we're taking it to the second week. As you were sharing the CPA, I got reminded of something that is very crucial, say, that how we going to take off after this lockdown will depend on how you spend the lockdown time doing. You know, we don't have to investigate your private space, but your ability to be deployed by your purpose and have financial buy-in of other people will not exceed the time that you spend on yourself and trying to improve yourself. Crisis leads to creation. Look, the family that we have had in the last 7 days. There are people that it's for the first time you met, it's for the first time, but crisis has afforded us the opportunity to sit with them. When you spoke about the CPA, it get reminded when I started being interested into finance. Everyone would always say your financial statements, it's your representation of your strategies. But it could not make sense to me, you know. But as I went on and understood business better, I said, if you are able to make 1 rand, it means your thinking equals to that 1 rand, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
So what brings the person who can turn over 1 million in a month with the person who does 100 rand in a year? Thank you, the CPU. That Veli said last week, sometimes you can have all the tools that you need as effective as you can be, but go direction in I totally agree. Your attitude determines your altitude. So say thank you very much for taking time. You've said mouthful. I don't know what am I going to choose to say. This is what you said. This is what you don't say. But after the pandemic, the crisis, it didn't crush us, but it revealed us, you know. And revealing us requires something that is very crucial. Because hunger an orange and you squeeze it, what comes out of the orange, it's what was already in. But we can't we can't expect to be better in business after our lockdown, yet we never really planted or watered something that is very different. I'm not saying anything outside of what you said. That's exactly what you were saying.
Perfect, yes.
Yes, sir. So thank you very much. Hey, question starting at. Let me read the audience posting. That we see or quality is very important. Okay, may we not become collectors of data, but actually implementers of all the quality information we receive. Or a CPA, consumer process, then apply. Every voice has an audience. Remain authentic. I am truly learning. Wow, opposition brings an opportunity for old me to die. Thank you, Coach T. Paul says, indeed, I'm not sure at what point or what you were sharing, because you just said mouthfully in a lot of things. Then Abuti Fana Fikilele Paka, this was on point. Thank you, Coach T. And today I will allow the opposition to announce me. Wow, Coach T, you were announced to me today, and I am so grateful. Your words resonated a lot. Wow, profound. Thank you, Coach T. Perception, beliefs, and behavior. Joseph Krubio, thank you, Coach T. And then Prophet Laga, or your attitude determines your altitude. You are as powerful as your thoughts. Thank you so much, Coach T and Abutita Pele. Wow, wow, wow. Big up to you guys. Big up to you guys. Big up to you guys. We are being enriched daily. Thank you very much, Prophet. Powerful. Mr. T, thank you for what you have shared. I got excited when you shared onto too much information causing anxiety. Brian Maluka, I'm grateful for this opportunity. I can't wait to process. Mashiko, powerful stuff, Coach T. All right. Where can we keep in touch with you? All right. Coach, your people have spoken, and you have spoken to your people.
Yes.
Right now, you have said a lot of things. I've been doing opposite of whatever that you shared with us. How do I redirect myself to start being a fan or a catcher of good information that's going to allow me to be profitable? Because a lot of business that are really collapsing a lot are businesses that were prepared for good times only. That is the only problem. I've never came across any business consultant or business coach who has said, when you start, what if it doesn't work? What do you have in place? So please assist me, Coach. How do I start gathering the right information and starting to prepare myself for after lockdown?
All right. So one critical thing that I want you to understand is that if you're planning with the mindset of that your starting point and your goal are all in one straight line, then you're already preparing yourself for failure. All right. You need to plan with the mindset and the understanding that where you start and where you are going, it's not one straight line. There are different hurdles that you're going to be facing. There are different detours that you're going to be facing. Right now, there's one fundamental thing that I think we all need to understand and we all need to implement in our lives as we take on this new approach, this new journey, and you're wanting to take on a new journey in life, is that you need scaffolding. All right. You need scaffolding. Now, let me break that down. You'll see a lot of the times when they're building certain buildings and things like that, there's this metal structures that they'll put around these buildings, right? And they put them around these buildings to ensure that while the cement is drying, these buildings can stay in place. All right. So those are support structures that while you are rising can keep you in place. A lot of us, we never ask ourselves that, what support structures do I need to put around me during these times that even when it gets tough, I can lean on these support structures until I get to a point where my entire building is built, right? Even when we plant certain trees, right, we'll deliberately wrap it around a stick to ensure that it guides its growth. You understand? So we need scaffolding. You need to get a coach. You absolutely need to get coached in life. All right. You need somebody who's been there, done there, got the t-shirt. All right. Then you need a mentor. Understand those two things are different. All right. A coach is somebody who can take what you have and teach you how to use what you have to take yourself to the next level. A mentor is somebody who's gone through what you need to go through and can teach you the tricks of the trade. You need the combination of both. All right. You need somebody, because oftentimes mentors don't know how to take your raw materials and extrapolate them to teach you what you need to do. That's a coach's job. But when it comes to a mentor's been there. He's been in the industry. He understands the doorkeepers. He understands the loopholes. He knows what to do, what not to do. He knows where the pitfalls are and where the pitfalls aren't. You need the combination of both, all right? And number one, entrepreneurs, you need a team. You need to build a team around you, a team that will guide you. Task your weaknesses, all right? Don't populate your space with people that are good at what you're good at. Right? I see this all the time. You're a speaker, so you populate your space with speakers. That's a recipe for disaster, because sooner or later, you guys then start to compete. all right? But build your team with people that are better at what you are bad at. All right. If you're bad at administration, get somebody who's bloody good at it and who's passionate about it. If you're a bad at strategizing, you can come up with visions, but you need a strategist. Get a strategist. Do you understand? But tasking your weakness as an entrepreneur is very important. And then number 3, don't be married to any idea. Be married to the end result, but don't be married to the process. Processes changed all the time. All right. And you need to be pliable as an entrepreneur. You need to be able to mold with the changes, adapt to the changes. Do you understand? So you need support. You absolutely need support. You need that scaffolding around your life. If you can be able to get that scaffolding, get the support structure, build a good team around you, and don't be married to the process. Know that the process can change. And when the process change with it, immediately change. Do you understand? A lot of us, we are late to change. You understand? You're so married to the process, and it's a process that's leading you to failure. All right? Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, you know, I think for us as we continue to being in a state that we're going to be effective, because Mamela, I don't have a father, I don't have a mother who's been an entrepreneur, but they played a crucial role where they have done, you know. So we need each other. That's why when we started the summit, I said there's a time where you need assistance, but there's a time where you need a voice. And for us to adapt, we need voices that will be able to guide us. Sometimes we can transact, but sometimes we need to learn. So we were afforded 2 months of learning. Now we need to start preparing our transaction to the next level. So what is it that you have for us, Coach? What can I get from you, and how do I get hold of you?
All right. So in terms of what we offer, all right, we offer life coaching, all right, because before you're an entrepreneur, you're a person, all right? And it's very important that you as an individual are taken care of, because if you're not taken care of, if your self-pursuit is not taken care of, then who you are in your function pursuit, where that's your business side, it's going to be affected. All right, we've got a lot of entrepreneurs that are depressed right now, that are going through so many things, not necessarily because anything is going wrong in their business, but because their personal space is not taken care of. And what we do in our business is we take care of you, the person, the individual. We make sure that you are okay, so that when you go out into the world that demands from you, you can be able to be the best version of yourself. So we offer life coaching, one-on-one life coaching towards individuals, all right, who are looking at bettering themselves, understanding their purpose, starting a journey of self-discovery, all right, and moving on to getting to their highest level of purpose, all right. So we offer life coaching for individuals, one-on-ones, and we also have a group coaching session. We've got 2 group coaching sessions that we have every Wednesday and every Saturday, all right. But all of these services can be found on our website. Our website is www.coacht.co.za, all right, www.coacht.co.za. People can also be in touch with me on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is coach.t underscore ZA, coach.t underscore ZA. Then on Twitter, they can also get a hold of us on Twitter. On Twitter, we are Coach T underscore ZA, Coach T underscore ZA. And they can also reach us on Facebook at Thabo Magano. On Facebook, they can reach us there. But all of these are available on our website. So the most important one is catch us on our website. All our contact details there. All the links to our social media platforms are there. There's great resources there. There's the blog, there's the ebook that you guys can all go and download for absolute free, that elaborates further on some of the things that I spoke about today. Thapelo, in closing, before we end, can I just say one more thing to everybody who's watching?
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
I just want to let everybody know, this is not the actual battle. All right? If you think this is the tough battle, this is not the actual battle. This is practice. This is prep work. The actual battle is going to come once this lockdown is over. That's when the actual battle is going to come. I was having a conversation with friends of mine, and I was telling them about a concept that I've been researching that they use a lot in boxing, about sparring partners, right? So most of the times before a boxer is about to go into an actual fight, they try to find sparring partners, which are other boxers that have similar features to the boxer that this boxer is going to fight. And a couple of weeks before the actual fight, they get this boxer to spar with this other similar boxers. Now, there's one critical thing that they use in sparring, all right? It's to prepare the boxer to be able to take the hits that come at that level. All right. Now, this lockdown is your sparring partner. This is not the actual fight. The actual fight comes once they announce that lockdown is over, all industries are opened up, and everybody's going chaotically into survival mode. That's when the real battle is going to happen. Now, what am I saying to you? Use this time wisely. This is the time where you get to spar with pressure. This is the time where you get to test things out. This is the time where you get to see, can I handle this hit at this level? If I get hit from the head, how do I block? If I get hit from that angle, how do I take it? How do I take the punches? How do I manage my money better? How do I invest my money better? How do I become more liquid as an entrepreneur? How do I handle my media better? How do I handle my social media better? Because I'm guaranteeing you, champions, the real battle comes once the lockdown is over. So use this time as a sparring partner. This is practice, but how you practice is going to be how you play.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. There's few people who were Ntate Tumelo, coach, are you still with me?
Yes, I'm still here. Still here.
Ntate Tumelo, please share your notes with us. Ntate Siawonga Mkungo, very powerful. I am moved to say. And Ntate Polo, thank you, Coach T. Look, there is so much that value that comes with paying attention to certain things. What you don't pay for will not pay you in the future. So I think as much as it's difficult, but we should not be babysitted businesses that are running. We need to be able to put money in our hands where we see value. So I'm hoping that people will start coming on board and you would be delivering the same value to each and everyone who would be coming because of this platform. Ladies and gentlemen, I know we tend to take more of the time than the 40 minutes. Initially, we had agreed that we're going to take, but if the content is there, we have to allow the speaker to speak. But for taking more time. We are grateful as Mind Think Institute as to where the summit is taking, and we get individuals saying, so I'm glad this is not owned by Mind Think, but this is a collective team where everyone are expertise in. Can I assist the summit with this expertise? We allow you to do that because we are all trying to come up with a way. We're trying to hold each other. Say, let me not take your platforms. On behalf of the attendees, on behalf of the Mind Think Institute, we just want to say thank you for coming and blessing our Monday with so much wisdom that you shared with us. And ladies and gentlemen, we're still continuing tomorrow. Due to technical problems, we could not share the link earlier on, but tomorrow you will get it as early as when you wake up in the morning. Link loaded. And look, we're still looking forward to being with you. I told you, we left with 3 weeks. Let's show up. Let's not miss any day. I want to be your partner in growing. I want us to write to I want us to sit next time and have coffee that we buy. You know what happened in 24 days it made a difference to ladies and gentlemen, like I always say, my name is Mutaun Chapelo. And remember, you are the best and unbeatable element of success. Nothing will crush us. We will work to the best to ensure that we thrive after this lockdown. Until we meet tomorrow, stay blessed. I'll be uploading the video Ke tlo upload a video around past 10 because I'm busy uploading the two. They are Saturday and Friday.
No problem, sir. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody who joined in today. Remember, www.coacht.co.za. Thank you, sir. Cheers.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.